Okay, so now let's learn about lesson 2. The title of this lesson 2 is Are you really a sloth? 理数探究の皆さん、国際探究の皆さん、頑張っていきましょう。So, in part 1, there are three different, very important grammatical points. First is here, what this animal is. Second is here, should have been. Third is think of 何々 as 何々. Okay, there are three different paragraphs. So let's take a look at three different paragraphs. And we will learn about some three different important grammatical points later. 主人公, the hero of this lesson is this one. A sloth. 怠け者. So, in part 1, the first paragraph is this one. Many of you probably know what this animal is, but you may not know much about it. This animal lives in the rainforests of Central and South America and spends almost all of the day hanging from or lying on a branch without moving much. When it does move, it moves unbelievably slowly, so the creature got the name of sloth, which comes from the English word slow. 中身を見ていきましょう。Okay, there is a tree. 下手ですね。So, many of you know what this animal, of course this animal means 怠け者. So, many of you know 怠け者, but you may not know much about 怠け者. Actually, 怠け者 lives in the forests of Central and South America and spends almost all of the day hanging from or lying on a branch without moving much. This sentence means 怠け者, a sloth, spends almost all of the day hanging from or lying on a branch. 怠け者 hangs from a branch or lies on a branch for almost all of the day. When 怠け者 moves, when a sloth moves, it moves unbelievably slowly. So, 怠け者, the creature, got the name of sloth, which comes from the English word slow. In the second paragraph, Western European explorers discovered the sloth in the 16th century. They came to look down on it because they thought it was lazy. Even the scientists of that time, who should have been more objective, had the same impression. Since then, and until recently, it has had a reputation for being lazy, thick-headed, and useless. It has even been described as an evolutionary failure. So, では中身をまた見ていきましょう。Western European explorers discovered 怠け者 the sloth in the 16th century, but they looked down on a sloth 怠け者. Why? Because it is lazy. Scientists of that time, actually, the scientists should have been more objective, 客観的. But even scientists thought that the 怠け者, a sloth, was lazy. Since then, and until recently, a 怠け者, a sloth, has had a reputation for being lazy, thick-headed, and useless, or it has even been described as an evolutionary failure, 進化上の失敗作。ひどいですね。And in the third paragraph, although the sloth acquired the label, 大事ですね。label of a lazy animal in the West, the native people living in the rainforest think of it as a good friend. Why is there such a big difference in perception of this animal? The answer lies in the interesting life of the sloth. また中身を見ていきましょう。原始人が出てきます。So, a 怠け者 was thought by both European people and scientists as lazy, thick-headed, and useless animal. But the native people living in the rainforest thought of a 怠け者 as a good friend. So, 怠け者 and native people living in the rainforest are friends. So, why is there such a big difference? なぜヨーロッパ人とネイティブピーポーの印象がこんなにも異なるのか？ The answer lies in the interesting life of the sloth. So we will read and we will have to look for the answer for that question in part 2, part 3, and part 4. So finally, we will look at some grammatical points. First, what this animal is. Many of you probably know what this animal is. You may remember the sentence, I don't know who you are. Of course, the sentence should be, Who are you? But 文の一部ならば the sentence should be, I don't know who you are. 語順注意ですね。Even the scientists of that time who should have been more objective. 文はもうちょっときれいにすると The scientists of that time should have been more objective. Should have means 何々すべきだったのにしなかった。つまり、科学者は客観的であるべきだったのにしなかった。つまり、主観的であったということになります。最後に、The native people living in the rainforest think of it as a good friend. Of course, this it means 怠け者 a sloth. Think of A as B is almost equal to regard A as B and see A as B. This phrase means A を B とみなす。So, 怠け者が友達とみなしたということになりますね。Okay, so this is the end of this part 1. And let's learn about different parts 2.